Hey, welcome back. In today's class, we're going to be putting a heavier focus on upper body hand techniques, mostly doing our punches. So let's get started. So first thing we have to do, obviously, is warm up. So how do you want to warm up today? Let's start off with switches. All right, cool. I like that. So we're going to get in our sparring stance. Hands are up. We're going to bounce, 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 bounce. And then when I say switch, we're going to switch. Ready? Switch. Stay nice and close to the ground. Hands are up and floating, switch. You can kind of move a little bit back and forth if you would like to, switch. Keep those calves moving. Don't come high off the ground like this. Stay pretty close to the ground. Switch. Switch. Remember, try to end with your toes, front toes facing front, switch. Don't overturn it so that they face to the inside. Switch. 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 And take a breath. All right, jumping jacks, because obviously we have to do some jumping jacks. Keep breathing, don't hold your breath. All right, slow down. Arm circles backwards. Big arm circles. I want you to feel that stretch when you're back here in the chest, here in the back. Go that full range of motion. We're not going fast. We're just opening these up. I want you to feel it all the way around. Get that full range of motion with this. And forward arm circles. Hands on your hips, and let's go ahead and head side to side. Nice and slow. And forward and backwards. Feel a little bit of that stretch every time. If you want, when your head comes down and forward, you can round those shoulders forward to feel that stretch in the back. And come back, you open the chest up. All right, legs a little bit apart, and we're going to a trunk twist. Okay? Working on being able to turn just the upper body, keeping our hips still. I like to point one of my hands and see how far I can get it. Each time I start off kind of light, and then I'll go a little bit further and try to say, look at Bob over there, or look at the bag and point my fingers there. And then maybe I try to go past Bob and past the bag, right? But I really want your upper spine being what's twisting at this point. Nice and relaxed. You can let the arms flow if you'd like. You can point them. When I go up with the palm and I go back, I kind of get a little bit of that chest stretch as I go back here, and that's fine too. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to hip twist. This time we're going to raise the heel each time we twist. Here and here. Should be feeling it a little bit on the inside and a little bit on those hip flexors right in front of the hip. On one side and the other. Turn and raise that back heel up every time we do this. Hands on your hips as you do this. I want you to point your shoulder all the way to one side, and then point the other shoulder all the way to the other side as you raise that back heel. All right, let's take a breath in and out. So let's quickly review our stances, All right, we have 4 stances just for the introductory level. So cherry up, our attention stance, Junbei, our ready stance. Make sure your hands end at the same time the heel touches the ground. Then we have our sparring stance. Heels are in a straight line, arms are up around the chest. And then we have our fighting stance. Heels are no longer in a straight line, they're shoulder width apart, and our hands are up higher around our cheekbones. Okay, so now we're gonna transition between them, just like we did in the last class. So cherry up, Junbei. Cherry up, Junbei. I want you to make sure you do a good Junbei each time. Cherry up, Junbei. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't rush this part. Cherry up, Junbei. Cherry up, Junbei. Not too far out with your feet. Your feet shouldn't be outside of those shoulder lines. Should be close to being underneath those shoulders. Cherry up, Junbei. All right, now we're gonna go from our ready stance, our Junbei stance, to our sparring stance. Go. And ready stance. Sparring stance. Ready stance. Step back, right foot back, sparring stance. Ready stance. Left foot back, sparring stance. Ready? Right foot back. Ready? Left foot back. Ready? Right foot back. Start moving if you'd like. Ready? Left foot back. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go from our sparring stance to our fighting stance. So right foot back, sparring stance. Right foot comes up, fighting stance. Sparring stance. Fighting stance. Sparring stance. If you want, you can make this more of a dynamic stance, that's fine. Fighting stance, or if you need to, you can make a static stance. Just make sure when you have a static stance, your knees are a little bit bent and don't want those straight legs. Sparring. Fighting. Sparring. Fighting. Sparring. And fighting. Take a breath in and out. So like I said in the beginning, we are going to focus a lot more on our hand techniques today. So our 2 hand techniques for the introductory level, other than blocks, are going to be our jab and our cross. So those are going to be our punches. So we're going to do these from a fighting stance. So look at my stance. I'm not in a sparring stance. My heels are not in a straight line. I'm still partially bladed. I'm not completely squared off with my shoulders. Still slightly back, but not all the way here or all the way here. So we're in that fighting stance. A jab is a lead hand punch, so we're always going to use the lead hand. If I switch my stance, right, now this other hand, my right hand, becomes my jab. If my left foot's in front, my left hand is my jab. And when you do this, I want you to turn the hip a little bit, point your shoulder some, and throw that jab out, making sure that we have our wrist nice and straight. And then we want to slightly tilt our hand so that we can hit with those 2 knuckles, the big 2 knuckles when we're punching. So we're gonna do 50 of these on each side. We're gonna start off slow, and then we'll start to pick up speed. Now, if I mess up on counting, 50 is a high number for me. I might mess up on counting, it's okay. Just yell really loud at me and I'll hear you and I'll fix myself. Hands up, and jab. 1, 2. Make sure the elbow does not come up first and comes out. Elbow twist at the last second. 3, 4, 5, 6. I want your arms to stay nice and relaxed. 7, 8. Other hand stays at your face. If you need to, go ahead and just touch your face. Is that 9? I'm already messing up. Other hand at your face. 10, 11, 12, 13. When you do this, don't lean so that your shoulders come forward. You can tilt a little bit, but I don't want your shoulders coming over your toes. All right, so we're not leaning in with this, but we might have a little bit of a twist to push this forward, but notice how I'm not chest squared and leaning over, right? I have that twist to help me get my reach. Number was that, 12? Sure, we'll go with 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, other hand at your face. 19, 20, 21, I can take a step with it. 22, I can step back with it. 23, I can step left. 24, I can step right. 25, 26, 27, 28, raise that shoulder up. 29, as you throw that punch. Right here, protect that chin. 30, 31, nice and relaxed. 32, no elbow up first. 33, try to keep it in that straight line. 34, 35, don't have this tension the whole time. Relax. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, a little bit faster, 44, 45, retract it back fast as well, 46, 47, hands are nice and relaxed, 48, 49, 50, take a breath in, and out. Switch stances. So now we're going to be in our fighting stance, but we're going to have our other leg in the lead. So now I'm having my right leg lead. Just switch, whatever you were doing. Hands up. 1. Slower. Slow down, slow down. 2. 3. Other hands up at the face. 4. I'm not tensing up my hands. 5. Nice and relaxed. 6. 7. 8, don't overturn, but you can push that hip into it. 9, 10, don't raise the elbow up first, it's not a hammer fist. 11, 12, nice and snappy, fast. 13, 14, bring it back fast, just as fast as you punch it out. 15, 16, we can step forward, 17, step back, 18, step left, 19, step right, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, keep it going, 26, 27, if you want to punch on something, that's fine, 28, 29, make sure you punch into your head level, don't punch down here. 30, bring it back fast. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. We throw it out there, all of these muscles relax and our body just kind of wants to naturally bring it back, right? Don't hold it up there. All right, 38, 39, other hands up. 40, protect your face. 41, sometimes you'll protect your face here if they like to jab at the same time as you. 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Take a breath in, bend out. Swing them open if you need to, stretch it out. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a cross. So our cross is the rear hand punch. So I'm standing in that fighting stance, my back hand. So my lead hand is my jab, my rear hand is my cross. And your cross is your power shot. All right, so on this one, we wanna make sure that we are raising that back heel. But I'm not just twisting my hip, look at my foot. I'm gonna raise it all the way off the ground. I'm not just twisting to raise that heel. What I'm doing is I'm pressing from the ground. Because I have a slight bend in my hip, a slight bend in my knee, and a slight bend in my ankle, I'm going to use the muscles that move those three joints at the same time. So my glutes move my hip, they straighten my hip out. My quads, muscles on the top of my thigh, move my knee or straighten my knee out. And then my calf muscles right there on the back are what straighten out my ankle. So I'm gonna do what's called a triple extension. I'm extending 3 joints at the same time, and I'm pressing off of the ground to throw that cross. Notice how my hip turns, and my belt, if it started close to the front, is going to end 45 degrees past that center line as I throw that cross. And I'm pressing off the ground. I want you to feel that press from the ground, not just raising, right? This is just me raising it, and I'm turning my hips, and then I can press, right? Notice I'm able to get a lot more drive with that. That's where the power from your cross comes from, is from the ground. If you ever heard somebody say punches come from the ground, that's where it comes from the ground. Okay, we're gonna do 50 of these as well. We're gonna start off slow, and I want you to try to feel those muscles working and pressing off the ground. Ready? 1, squeeze those muscles. 2, 3, notice how if I drop my hand, my shoulder's pointed all the way to the front, other hand still at my face. 4, elbow stays down, 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 I'm almost fully extended, and then it twists. 5, 6, 7, make sure you exhale on each one. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, squeeze those muscles. 14, 15, point that shoulder all the way to the front. 16, notice how my shoulder is up, protecting my jaw in case they punch at the same time. I'm protecting that side. What was that, 16? 17, 18, 19, 20. So going slow, feeling that motion, pressing off that back leg. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, other hand still up at the face. 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. All right, I'm gonna start speeding them up just a little bit. If you're still not comfortable going faster, slow down, feel those muscles working. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, other hand comes to the face. Even if it's out here, when you throw that punch, I want it coming to your face. 37, again, maybe. 38, 39, 40, 41, press off that ground. 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. Take a breath in and down. So guess what we're gonna do? Same thing other side. Oh, you're so smart. Let's do it. Switch sides. All right, ready? And cross. 1, pressing off that back leg. 2, don't raise the elbow up first. We're not doing that. 3, keep that shoulder close to your chin. 4, 5, 6, feel that triple extension. 7, other hands at the face. 8, protect yourself. 9, notice I got one shoulder protecting myself and I have my other hand protecting the other side. The only thing's really exposed is that front, and ideally I'm punching. 10, 11, press off that back leg. 12, 13, punch moves in a straight line. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Let's go ahead and let's start speeding it up just a little bit. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Hands are up. 37. Don't lean. 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Breathe in and out. Cool. Can you guess what's next? We only have 2 punches for the introductory course. Jab cross. You're so smart, now we're putting them together. Let's make a short combination. It's a very common combination and you've probably seen it a lot because everyone does it. You're gonna lead with that lead hand and then follow with that cross. All right. The lead hand could be doing a lot of things. A lot of people use this as kind of a feeler or keeping distance, right? It's a distance management tool, but it also tells me, hey, how close am I to my opponent, right? All right, well, if I can't hit him with this lead hand, I probably can't hit him with that backhand unless I move forward, so I have to use footwork, right? If I'm already here though, if I feel that, boom, I can probably hit with my backhand if I can hit with my lead hand, most of the time. So just kind of be aware of that. It is usually used for that distance. Sometimes it's used to enter in and then hit with the power shot, give them something to think about, and then hit them hard. All right, sometimes you're just throwing it out and feeling, seeing what happens. So we're just going to lightly do it at first, and then we'll pick up a little bit of speed at the end. If you have a bag, feel free to use the bag, but I recommend using the bag for maybe the last 20 and not for the beginning few. I don't want power on the beginning few. I want you to feel your technique, okay? Hands are up, jab, cross, lead hand, followed by rear hand. 1, jab, cross. Now a lot of people when they first start off doing this, they jab, bring it back, and then they cross. But as that jab is coming back, my cross is going out. So it's not gonna be 1, 2, it's gonna be 1 into 2. So keep that in mind. You don't want that massive time delay between these two. Or that 3, 4, 5, 6. You could step and drag. 7, 8, 9. Shoulder up, protecting, shoulder up, protecting. 10. Make sure we're not elbow up. 11. Elbows are down until the end. 12. See your target. 13. Pick a target and aim at it. 14. Make sure your wrist is straight, right? We have to have a slight bend downwards. If we just keep a nice relaxed wrist, it's going to bend our wrist back and it doesn't feel good. I think we're on 15. 15. 16. 17. Still pressing off that back leg. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. Notice I'm closing the distance. 23. Most of the time when you do this, you will have to be closing the distance. 24, so I could step, step. 25. Maybe they're coming in at me. Step, step, backwards. 26. 27, I move off to the side. 28, I can move off to the other side. 29. 30. 31. 32. If you want, you can start picking up some speed and some power. If you have a bag, feel free to go ahead and hit the bag now. 34, 35, 36. Make sure you exhale on each one. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. Notice if I can get close, I end up going back after my combination. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Take a breath in. All right. Well, we did it on one side. What does that mean? Gotta do it on the other side too? I mean, if you insist. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Ready? 1, jab, cross. Make sure that cross goes out as the jab is coming back. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hands are up at the face. One hand's up, other hand's up. 9, 10. Press off that back leg, raise that back heel. 11, 12, 13, 14, exhale. Don't lean. 15, 16, 17. Hands are up. 18. Run right down that center line. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, shoulder up, protect that jaw. 27, 28, 29. You can have this dynamic moving stance. 30, or you can stay here relatively static. 31. If you want to go ahead and start hitting a bag or hitting a little bit faster, go ahead and do that. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. Notice I'm doing all sorts of footwork. It's fine. You don't have to worry about that. If you know it, you can do it. If you don't, well, just practice the technique. Was that 39? 40. 41. Shoulder up, shoulder up. 42. Other hand at your face. 43. Press off that back leg. 44. Don't snap that first one. 45. 46. Hands are up. 47. Hands are still up. 48. Turn your hip, not to the side. 48, right? 49. Last one. 50. Take a breath in and out. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do our jab followed by a rear leg knee strike. So we're going to do 20 of these. So we're going to start here. We're going to go still in our fighting stance on this one. We're going to jab, and then our back leg is going to come up, and we're going to throw that knee strike. Okay? Ready? 1, jab. As that shoulder's coming back, this hip comes forward, pivot a little bit, throw that knee strike. If you land in the front, just go ahead and either step forward, or if you land in the front, step it backwards. Either way is fine. What was that? Is that the first one? Maybe? 2, strike, knee strike. 3, strike, knee strike. 4, jab, knee. 5, jab, knee. 6, jab, knee. 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to hit a bag with this. 11, I can hit that jab, grab, and throw that knee strike. 12, 13. Sometimes I'll step with the jab, sometimes I'll step again with the knee. It depends on where my opponent's at. 14, 15, 16. Maybe I threw that jab to feel my distance and I didn't really hit them, but now they're coming in at me. Hands are up. Strike. 16? Question mark? 17. Pivot a little bit as you do that knee strike. 18. 19. 20. Breathe in and out. Switch your stances. So now I'm gonna have my right leg in front. Same thing. Jab, rear leg knee strike. If you need to stretch those hip flexors real fast, go ahead and do so. I'm feeling it, so I need to stretch mine. Pulled mine a few weeks ago. It's still giving me some trouble. I did one already, right? Sure. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm simulating that grab by doing that turn the steering wheel. 6. I don't have to do that. 7. Just come forward with this. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. Breathe in and out. All right, so we did jab knee, but earlier we did a jab and then we did a cross, and then we did jab cross. What do you think's coming now? If you said cross knee, that's a great guess, but it's not quite it. We're gonna do a jab cross switch knee, okay? So we're here, jab, cross, and now my hip is already kind of cocked this way, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch my feet. Now when I switch my feet, look at the orientation of my belt, right? Didn't change. So I don't want you to go here, right? Because now this hip's already to the front. So we're not switching the orientation of our hips, we're just switching which foot is in front. So now this hip is in the back, and I can drive off it and bring it to the front as I do that knee strike, okay? So we're going to jab, cross, switch, knee strike. Ready? 1, jab, cross, still pressing off that back leg, switch, knee. Try to keep that switch low and fast. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That time I did a step knee, pretty similar to a switch knee. Right? I'm just moving forward even more. Was that 10? We'll do 10 again. 10. 11. 12. 13. Try to drive it straight as you're going for this. Don't just raise it up. Was that 13? Was that 14? We'll go 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. Hands are up around the face. 19. That was just a knee. 20. Jab, cross, switch knee. Breathe in and out. Well, obviously we have to switch sides, so go ahead and switch sides so we can do that side. Ready? Hands are up. Jab, turn the hip as you're doing this. Again, hips stay in the same place. Switch, knee strike. And I like to think of that as our hands, 1, 2, and then I want to grab on, turn the steering wheel towards that knee strike. Drop it down in front, and then go ahead and step back. All right, ready? 1, jab, cross, switch, knee. 2, 3, jab, cross, switch knee. 4, 5, jab, cross, switch knee. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now try it with a step this time. 12. Step, knee. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. Breathe in and out. All right, let's go slow down. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna review our blocks. So this time though, with our blocks, we're going to add in our hip movement. So before we did our low blocks, and they look like this. Now what our low blocks are gonna look like. Notice how my belt swings. Okay? So what are we gonna do? Let's go ahead and we're just gonna do one side, just like we've done before. You're welcome to mirror me or do the same side as me. I'm gonna start with my left hand on top, so if you wanna mirror me, start with your right hand on top. Now as I do this, my left hand goes on top and my belt points off to my right side. All right, so it goes with the hand that goes on top. Make sure your palm is still towards your face. Don't start doing this. No palms towards the shoulder. Palm towards the face. My belt points off to that right side, and then I set it back down in the center. Notice that heel raised, and then I dropped it as I blocked. So we're gonna do the setup for this. So 1, turn to the side. 2, and come back. 1, nice and relaxed. 2, add the tension. 1, 2. Now I want you to forcefully turn your hips. It's not quite just this, right? Look at my belt. I can turn my hips, but notice how the belt doesn't really, that's what I want. So that means I have to forcefully turn my hips to get my belt to swing off to the side as opposed to just kind of shimmy just a little bit, all right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're gonna go to the other side. We're gonna do 3 and 4. 3, 4. Again, nice and relaxed. And then pop, add the tension. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3. Turn the belt to the side, turn my shoulders and hips to the side, and back to that square position. 4. Make sure your hand is on your side and not here in front and not up here. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3, 4. 1. Other side again. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're gonna do them on 1 count. And so I'm just going to count up to 40. I'm gonna count to 40. But each block is gonna be 1 count. So I'm gonna set up 1. Set up, palm towards the face, of course. 2. Set up 3. Set up 4. Set up 5. Set up 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. Start off slow, go fast. 19. Start off slow and fast. 20. 21. 22. Nice and relaxed with the hands and tight at the end. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. 39. 40. Breathe in and out. Now what we're gonna do, high block. So the high block, the way that we're gonna turn our hip is when I reach over and across, I'm gonna drop my knees or bend my knees some. My hip or my belt will go about 45, not quite 90, but about 45 to 90 degrees from that center line. As I reached across here and then I come back. Reach across, I turn both my knees about 45 degrees past that center line on the other side, and I come back. Now I'm adding my hips, but I'm also able to drive because those knees are bending and then straightening again. I'm able to drive up on that high block. So we're going to break down the same way though. 1, 2, it's gonna be one side. 3, 4, it's gonna be the other side. Ready? So I'm gonna start with my left, going to my right side. You're welcome to mirror me or whatever you wanna do. Pick one side. 1, turn, palm facing up on the blocking hand. 2, 1, 2. Make sure you're still doing a good block. Wrist in line with that opposite ear. It's out and away, it's not over the head, and you're using your ulna bone, that outer forearm bone, to block. 1, 2. Other hand feels that belt right on your hip. Not up here, not in front. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. bringing it up and out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're gonna go to the other side. 3 and 4. 3, 4, 3, 4. Still doing that good block. On the outwards, not over the head. Other hand at the belt. 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. I'm relaxed, and then I tighten up. Right? If I stay relaxed the whole time, looks like this. If I stay tense the whole time, looks like that. You need to be able to go from relaxed to tense, to relaxed to tense. It takes practice. Trust me, start working on it now. That is what I fail everyone on black belt for, because they're not able to do that. Relaxed, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. Now we're going to alternate sides. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to count to 40. We're going to do each one is going to be a 1 count. So we're going to set up and block. Ready? Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Notice I exhale on each one of those as well. 14, 15. Anytime I tighten up those muscles, I want to exhale. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Could be moving with this. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Awesome job. Take a breath in and out. You should start to be a little bit tired if you're actually going from that relaxed state to the tense state to the relaxed state again. You're contracting your muscles every time. So it shouldn't be like this. This is not tiring at all. Maybe your shoulder muscles just from raising your arm, but you should be feeling it in your forearms as well. You should be feeling it in your legs. You're tensing up all of those muscles and then you're relaxing, right? Everything tenses. This other side tenses, your core tenses, and then it relaxes. You need to be able to activate those really sharp and really fast, and then relax them just as fast. That is, in my opinion, what takes a really long time to actually be able to learn. So, what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna recap what we went over today. In today's class, we started off with just doing our warm-up, and then we transitioned between some of our stances. From there, we went and did our jab, which is a lead hand punch on both sides. After we did that, we did a cross, which is our rear hand power punch on both sides. Again, making sure we get that triple extension down. Then we went jab to our cross. After that, we decided to add in a knee strike. So we went jab, rear leg knee, did that on both sides. And then we went jab, cross, switched in place. Remember not to turn those hips, and through that lead knee. So we did our switch knee. From there, we went and worked on our low block, adding our hips into our blocks this time, and our high blocks, also adding our hips into our blocks. From now, what we're gonna do is we're just going to slow down and we're going to stretch out a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's start with a socket stretch. So a socket stretch is this one right here, stretching the inside, just like this. Stretch those adductor muscles. Remember, adductors are what bring the muscles that bring the legs in. Ab, AB, bring the muscles apart. We're stretching our adductors. They add our legs together. It's one way that I remember it, at least. Go down, let's hold it for a little bit. Now, we didn't quite stretch these earlier in class, mostly because I knew we weren't gonna be doing a lot of kicks that actually needed these. I'm gonna do any kicks that actually needed this muscle to be stretched. This would be more of a roundhouse kick would need this, a side kick, stuff like that, but front strikes, like a knee strike or a front kick, don't actually use this muscle group for stretching. Other side. So sometimes I'll just omit them if I know that they're not actually going to be used in the class, and we'll just kind of stretch them at the end because we want them to get a little bit more flexible for other techniques. Make sure when you're doing this, you're not holding your breath. You can take some deep breaths, slow. The slow, deep breaths help because they help you to relax, and if you relax, then ideally your muscles relax and they're able to get a little bit more stretch. Let's go ahead and let's rotate the back foot. I want you to keep your knee up off of the ground for now. And try to get that hip nice and low. It's okay if your knee bends a little bit, all right? But I want you to keep it relatively straight as you're doing this. Now, one thing that I like to do is kind of get a little extra stretch in there. Is this foot, this knee, and push it off to the side, and that'll stretch my glutes a little bit of that top leg, so I can kind of get two muscle groups at the same time here. And let's go ahead and switch. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. Again, from here, I'm pushing this outwards, so I'm feeling it on the hip flexor of my back leg. As I push that out, I feel my glutes. It's similar to doing this stretch. I think in yoga they call it the pigeon pose. I could be wrong. I've done yoga like 3 or 4 times, but not very much. But it's similar to doing that from this position here. We're stretching it right here on the outer portion. You don't have to do that if you don't like to. That's fine. It's up to you. Okay, let's go ahead and let's sit down. And let's reach for our toes. And when you're doing this, I want you to think about your hips, your pelvis, tilting. So keep it straight, but I want you to tilt it forward so that the back part or the bottom part moves backwards and the top part moves forwards. What that'll do is that'll make sure that we're getting a little bit more onto our hamstrings as we're doing this stretch. All right. Another thing you can do is kind of try to keep your back nice and straight instead of curving here. And I can get a lot of distance just by bending my back, but if I keep it nice and straight here, I'm not able to quite go as far, but I feel it on the hamstrings, and that's what I actually want to be stretching at this point. I'm not too worried about stretching my back here. And let's go ahead and let's do our other side. We're just putting that foot right in here and reaching for it, and trying to keep your back relatively straight as you do this. Nice deep breaths. Man, what we're gonna do? We're gonna do splits, everybody's favorite. So I wanna work on this. So let's get some splits going. As far down as you can. Right? You don't have to go as far as me. You don't ever have to go as far as me, and that's okay. Remember, when you're doing these things, you should feel discomfort. You should try to push yourself a little bit, but you should never actually feel pain. Pain is bad. You should not be feeling pain, only discomfort. So after you hold it for a while, you'll notice your muscle kind of starts to pull and then it'll release. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that point where your muscle is just like, I can't hold on any longer. Oh, fine, I'll give it to you. You can be flexible, I guess, if you really want to. All right, let's go ahead and let's come up a little bit. Touch those back toes on the ground. and let's slide down again. And I want you to make sure that your shoelaces, where your shoelace would be, is not what's on the ground. Right? I want the inside of your foot being what's on the ground. The reason for that is because it stretches a different muscle. If you turn it so that your shoelaces are down, and what I mean by that is this right here, right? So see how my shoelaces are down towards the ground even though I'm not wearing shoes? That stretches the hip flexor of the back hip. I'm looking to stretch the hip adductor of the back hip. And let's go ahead and come up and go to the other side. Now, if you're doing something like I am doing, see how I'm on my knuckles? I'm not actually on my hands. If you're gonna be on your knuckles, try to work on your wrist alignment for punches. So make sure everything is straight, and then notice how I only have these two, right? Ideally I don't wanna go here, right? I'm not sure how well you can see that, but I'm on my fingers instead of on the knuckles. I wanna try to be on the knuckles so I can actually work on that, and that's where my punches would be at. Back up. Come up. Let's go ahead and shake them out. If you want to do those modified hip twists, one of my favorites for after doing the splits. From here, let's go ahead and just stand. If you need to grab onto something, you're more than welcome to grab onto something. And we're going to grab our quad or our foot to stretch our quads. Remember, our quads are the muscles right here on the front part of our thigh. And let's go ahead and grab the other one. From here, let's put our feet together. I'm not going to completely lock out my knees. I'm going to bend them slightly, but not here, right? You shouldn't be able to see the bend. And then I'm going to reach down and try to touch my toes. I want you to be nice and relaxed here. Again, try not to overly bend with the back. Try to tilt your hips like this as you go down. And that'll cause it to be more on that back side and those hamstrings. And come up. Kick it out one more time. And chair up. Bow. Kunya. That's how we're going to end our class. And hopefully you enjoyed today's class. If you did, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you liked about the class down below. And let me know what you didn't like if you didn't like it. But you liked the whole thing, so just tell me what you liked. All right? And I will see you next time.